You know those times when you make a hobby decision for what you think are the right reasons and you're left looking back on it, really regretting it? Well, in my recent Rumbleslam video, I made one such decision when I decided to tear through almost the whole box in a single sit-in, determined to bring you a review that included painted minis for a change. One of the things I recommended for those minis was contrast style paints, but as you can see, comparing my orcs and goblins, contrast isn't always the most consistent experience, and well, considering that I have some Rumbleslam minis that I really like the paint jobs for, those problems with contrast start to stand out even more. I kind of ended up feeling like I should just yeet the orcs in the bin, which isn't so helpful when they're used for a game that I'm planning to play a lot of. But to be fair, doing so was instant remorse. I mean, what if I can save them? What if I can bring them back from the dead? Yes, they can be saved. They will be saved. So I strapped in, set up, and decided I was going to bring these minis back to life. Come hell or high water, I would be happy with them by the end of this day. The two I'm really most bothered about though are these orcs specifically, the grappler and the brawler. The goblins do probably need a push, but they bother me less, so I'm going to save them for another day and just focus on these two big boys. Now, if you're looking forward to seeing these two orcs uplifted and looking nice and you're enjoying the video so far, please do consider giving that like button a little tickle, maybe even a subscription to the channel. If you really love what we're doing over here, also do take a look down in the description of the video where you'll find things like my affiliate links or my Patreon, where for as little as £1 a month, you can get some pretty cool benefits and actually directly make a difference to helping me make this content. Okay, so back to these orcs. It's not very helpful just painting without a clue what I want to do. That's just gonna finish me up in the exact same spot I started in. So I'm going to go into this with a plan. The main culprit that's really dragging these orcs down is quite clearly the skin. The contrast paint orc flesh has gone really blotchy, and the tint I put over it with Scale Instant Colour really hasn't helped that much either. We need a rework there, pronto. I really like the red undertones I put into the skin on Orcishi here. In fact, these skin tones in general are great, so I'm going to try and shoot more in that direction, but working from what I already have, so it probably will look a bit different. The other main thing is that I think their gear could look better. I want to clean up the highlights on the black parts, maybe throw in some stripes or something to add a bit of interest and a pop of colour. And then finally, I just want to generally improve the faces, detail the teeth more, make them look more interesting. Okay, so that's a good couple of improvements for me to get on with, but I think it's still doable within a day. As with a lot of my painting, I don't want to spend forever on this, but I do want it to look pretty nice when it's done. So getting started on the skin, I'm going to leave the existing shadows from the contrast there initially, at least for the most part, and concentrate on a smoother mid-tone. Those shadows may well disappear completely by the time I'm done, but I want them there to see how they look alongside cleaner surfaces. And now comes the time where at least some of them will definitely disappear, because I want to mimic that deep red shadow from Orcishi to see how it works here. And I actually think that's pretty cool. So now let's work more at the top end and see where we end up. With just a brighter green, I can start to focus on upward facing muscle regions, popping veins, that kind of thing, to get some basic beginnings of a highlight scheme in place. A second pass with an even brighter green pretty much gets these boys looking how I was hoping they would. Now for their gear, those initial highlights were just a bit of a choppy mess. So I'm going to completely start again by painting them out in black. And then while that's still wet, I'm going to wet blend up with some grey for a super quick but much smoother looking rendering. I can also now drop in some brighter highlights over that without it looking like a crazy stark jump. I honestly really wish I'd done this the first time because it didn't really take any longer. And with that in place, I also want to introduce some kind of design into the ring gear, as I said before. something to break it up from being just plain black, I decided to go with yellow because, well, I just love painting yellow. I also added some more top highlight to the red sections, a little reinforcement in the shading, really just similar steps to previous, nothing amazing or groundbreaking here, but it definitely improves the overall look of the mini. Now, just the processes that we've already put all of the skin through has definitely helped these faces a lot. But that said, I do think there's just a couple of tiny extra things we can do to push them a bit further. For a start, a nice bright, sort of pinky kind of lip will look way more striking from a distance and is a fun little break from the colour palette. The teeth could also do with some brighter highlight on them, and once that's done I might poke something into the eyes to make those look a bit nicer too. So with just a few dedicated hours, what was the net result of my little quest to uplift these boys? You've seen the techniques they used, but do you think the improvement is worth pumping an extra day into just 2 minis for a board game? I think to really appreciate this before and after shot gives us much more of a clear idea of what's changed. I feel like I finally have some orcs on my team that I can feel pretty proud of, and that's a damn cool feeling. So if you've enjoyed this little journey and want to check out Rumbleslam, there's a link just going up top now to my previous video on the game. However, more importantly than that, what I really hope you take away from this video is just a bit of confidence to jump in and fix those minis you're not happy with. Sometimes the feeling of fixing something you feel like you messed up is way more rewarding than just stripping the mini and starting again. Just a few simple techniques and a fresh pair of eyes after taking some time away from it can often uplift a project from trash to absolute treasure. Thanks for watching, folks, and happy hobbying.